can check them out there.
So we would like to introduce, without further ado, from the band Star Collector, Vic, who sings and plays guitar. Vic, first of all, the first point of order is which is your real name? Is it Vic Wayne or is it Vic Gallianis?
Who would ever give themselves an alias like that, Lithuanian hieroglyphic? Yeah, my last name's Wayne, so I'm going to change it to something that no one can pronounce. That makes sense.
I love it. That is so good.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Edmonton, so the Wayne is obvious for those that are hockey fans, and I also grew up loving Batman. So.
Who didn't?
Yeah.
Who didn't?
So welcome to the show, Vic. It's very, very good to have you here. We're big fans of the new album and starting to become big fans of the back catalog, which is one of the cool things that, when you do this, we do this, I always say, well, you have to spend money to lose money.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. So it's all for fun.
Well, we go to the back catalog, and it is great finding. When you hear a new song, you always say, oh, what else is out there? And that's great. Yeah.
So again, we're from Portland, Maine, or Maine area, because Vic you have a brother from Portland, Oregon, right? We learned that.
Yeah, in fact, he's our bass player at the moment.
He's your 18th bass player.
Well, he's filled in for us many times on tours. Like the first tour we went over to Europe, he actually played with us because, big surprise, we were between bass players.
This is the Spinal Tap of...
It totally is, man. I'm not lying when I say there's been 18 different people.
How many have spontaneously combusted?
Only 3.
Good. I mean that's a good average.
In that respect, we're behind Spinal
I'll take that ERA anytime.
You actually learned to dust for vomit. You have had so many that you had to sort of figure that out.
We have had a lot more than none. None more black.
So tell us anything you want. Let's just kind of open it up. That's the way we ask questions here. Yeah,
just start rambling. Go ahead.
Please ramble. Tell us about Star Collector.
Anything I want. Well, that's some quality interviewing.
I know, huh?
Tell us anything you want.
You know why I said that? Because I've got to go over to the table and make a drink.
Right.
So we'll let Mitch kind of take over here for a second.
Why don't we talk about that?
Okay, let's do that. Perfect. Okay.
So Mark's going to saunter over.
Do I have to take my headphones off, so I'll have to...
You have to take your headphones off. That usually helps, or else the whole desk falls down.
I can hear you. Okay, here we go.
We'll hear the ice clinking in the background.
He moved the mic so well. He twisted that around.
Mitch does not do anything with tomatoes in it, so I'll be alone on this cocktail.
I might try a little. I'll
give you a little.
I'm not a huge fan of tomato juice, but hey, it's a drink. So.
All right, so Vic, tell us about the drink.
So the drink itself.
It's a prototypical Canadian delicacy, the Caesar. Many times going down to the States, you would ask them to make you a Caesar, and they just looked at you like you're from another planet. You mean a Bloody Mary? No, not a Bloody Mary, actually. It's Clamato juice. It's what? So that's but it's really popular up here. So, and I'm a fan. So I'm actually drinking one. Drinking and clinking here.
Nice.
Okay, this is me breaking up the ice.
I think you're going to break the door, too.
Sounds like you're getting ready to hide the body.
Exactly.
Ice in the glass. All right, so Vic, we have
sure you're not from Jersey, Mark?
We have some Tito's vodka here, so we'll start with that. We'll fill up most of the glass with that.
You want some tomato juice with that?
Got a little lime in there.
Oh, my God.
No, that's a pour. That's a good pour.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what I have mixed together here, tell me if I've got this right. So I have Clamato juice. I have Worcestershire sauce. I have some horseradish, which I didn't necessarily see in the recipe, but figured I needed to have that. Am I missing anything from those ingredients other than celery salt on the rim?
Okay, so I suppose your horseradish is probably taking the place of the Tabasco, which is sort of the common.
I have Tabasco also.
Oh, you do? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds
double spice. Double spice.
And is it true?
So the only other two things would be a proper olive.
Oh, darn it!
And a bit of lime.
Okay, I have lime. I forgot the olive.
Should I call olive oil up?
So there's a little taste for Mitch.
Me olive oil.
And I'm ready. I'm ready for that. I got the celery salt on the rim, which I saw was kind of a cool idea. And
I feel like I'm going to have a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, so cheers.
Cheers indeed.
Cheers.
Here we go.
Yeah, we got it. See, this is great radio, people. I mean, seriously, who does this?
Air pockets where there's no sound except people drinking.
Well, that's 70% of our show, technically.
All right, so
I've listened to you guys.
All right, so here's what we will do, however. tell us about Star Collector's 5th album, Game Day.
Yeah.
Sure. What would you like to know? It was recorded just before the pandemic, actually. We were quite fortunate that we had done the majority of the recording before then. It was done mostly at the very tail end of 2019, and then we started doing some overdubs after that. So that was kind of lucky timing, I guess. And, you know, today's technology it's not like the old days where everything, you know, you got to pour tons and tons of money into a big studio. You know, basically we just get the drums done in the big studio, and then our drummer, who happens to be a really, really fine recording engineer, Adrian, we just basically did all the overdubs with him, and we didn't even have to go back into a studio after that.
Oh, that's great. So he was able to help produce that and kind of get that sound.
No! Don't give him too much credit. I produced it.
Okay.
I knew that.
Yeah, no, he engineered it, he mixed it, he mastered it. He's you know, aside from being a killer drummer, he also has a great ear for production. But you know, engineering's really his forte.
Nice.
But yeah, we had a good working relationship, and Steve, the guitar player, and I have played together for through 18 bass players at least.
Steve is a great guitar player. Monteith is not a very common name. Is he related to the comedian Kelly Monteith by any chance?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, you would probably know it. Mitch doesn't know who that is, but I'm a little bit.
But I'm laughing on the inside.
But yeah, no, he's a fine.
Yeah, he's very good. And so I did notice, I was looking you up, and I found on Discogs where you were the drummer for a band called Truth, and also the Standards, and you look like you might have been like 12 years old in this picture. Right? Am I right about that?
Wow, that is impressive.
Thank you,
sleuthing, gentlemen.
See, I don't have just open-ended questions, dude.
Holy crap!
Do we have to actually pay an intern now?
Here I am thinking like if you're diving back into like the third Star Collector album that you're going back to far, but you've gone even pre.
Wow, how the heck?
Is this a battle of the bands?
This is amazing. So, how long ago was that, dude?
I can't see the picture.
Well, I know. You remember when that was?
I have no idea, but it was a long time ago.
84, I think. We're looking at about 84, I think, something in that range.
Yeah, we were youngins, that's for sure.
Yeah. So Vancouver based even then, or
no? Actually, that was in Edmonton.
Oh, okay. What's the really?
And it was
okay, seriously.
It was right during a really phenomenal Edmonton music scene that spawned some really well-known bands. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of the Pursuit of Happiness.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, so they were Mo and the drummer Dave were originally from that Edmonton scene. SNFU, the really well-known punk band, was from that scene. Junior Gone Wild, which is like an alt-country band, was from that scene. It just and a lot of other musicians that you guys probably haven't heard of, but have played with some really killer bands. A drummer that plays with the guys in Blue Rodeo now, and
nice.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably no bigger U.S. fan of Blue Rodeo than me.
Yes, you are. Yes, definitely.
100%.
Okay, so Joel,
the
guy I'm talking about, he plays drums in the Jim Cuddy band, which is like Jim Cuddy's thing.
Cuddy's band is great too. Kid's not bad either.
So
yeah, here.
I guess when in Edmonton, like, what got you into music? Was it that scene that kind of, or was it just something else? That I just want to do music, and it happened to be that the scene also kind of was nurturing that.
Yeah, it was definitely that.
Okay.
It was the first real band that I was in was with my brother, who is still playing in our band now, Adam, and hopefully he's out there listening in the other Portland.
Hey, Adam.
Hey.
And he and I and a guitar player, because like you mentioned, I was the drummer at the time. The three of us had a band which had the fine generic name The Mods.
Oh, yes, perfect.
I often, it's like calling yourself the heavy metal.
Music.
The folk band. Yeah, music.
The music band. That's really good, The Mods.
But at the time, at that time in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, we thought it was pretty original, and to be fair, for the scene that was going on, with the exception of these people I just mentioned, which was an extremely small music scene, like 20 bands or less, all the rest of the stuff that was going on at the time was totally different.
So is that when you were diving into the jam and things along those lines? Or even
exactly.
earlier? Okay.
Well, right around that time, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we started listening to them before we started playing gigs, and then we sort of realized, because we were, like you said, we were really young.
Yeah.
But once we started playing the gigs, I mean, I think Adam was playing in bars when he was like 14.
Nice.
And so there's a whole lot of other stories, but I'll leave those for now. But yeah, so
always leave wanting more.
We hugely got into the jam at that point. That was like our template for our who we loved, and we covered a lot of their stuff. Our original stuff kind of had a jam thing. Our look was even, we were a 3-piece that wore black mod suits and the whole thing.
We'll shoot you a picture of our jam poster, which sits right over my shoulder, where Weller is staring Mitch down the entire
show long. Weller's just staring at me with that furrowed.
It's like, Paul,
stare.
You really, and he weighs like 120 pounds, right? He's sitting there trying to look like he's a tough guy.
You're not a tough guy.
Exactly.
Take it easy, dude.
That is too funny.
Exactly. Well, that's great to know that he's in your.
He's here.
He's here.
That big brownie points for me.
We actually we had a canceled interview or something, and I put the microphone, positioned it so it was in front of him, and we said, well. This canceled, but Paul said
we're interviewing Weller today.
He looked just as unhappy doing the interview. I don't know.
Actually, I have a great story about the jam.
That would be great.
I don't know how much time you guys
have. We got all the time.
Tell us, yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is right around the same time that we're talking about. The very last time that the Jam toured North America before they broke up, they came to Canada and they played in Vancouver at this place called the Kerrisdale Arena, which is still there. And we were still living in Edmonton, but we heard they were coming, and we were such monstrous fans that we actually, the three of us and one of our roadies, flew out, booked a hotel. We were all underage, of course, and went to the show. Got tickets. We even had like British pound notes for them to sign. The whole thing, total fandom, and they let us in for the sound check. So we literally were standing at the stage while they were sound checking. And they signed our stuff. So they signed like pound notes and stuff for us. So, you can imagine, right? Mm. So we go over and get some junk food in between the sound check and the show. And somehow, moron that I was, I lost my pound note.
Oh, no.
So we go running back into the fast food place, can't find it. I'm just totally bummed. So we go to the show. The show is just as fabulous as you can imagine. They were touring The Gift, which
gosh, yeah.
It's not my favorite Jam album, but it's still
it's still fantastic.
My fourth favorite Jam album is still better than 95% of most albums.
Right.
Yeah, but they did tons of stuff. They did Eaton Rifles and Start and the whole thing. And so it was phenomenal. And then after the show, we heard that we thought, well, let's just go out and wait by the bus. Maybe we'll get to meet them again and I can get some stuff re-signed and all that. So we're out there waiting, and we're waiting like 20 minutes with a bunch of kids. And someone walks out from the tour manager or whatever and says, if you guys go around the side of the building, they're letting people in little groups to meet the Jam. And we thought, yeah, right. That's just an excuse to get all of us to leave here so they can run to the bus and get the hell out of Dodge.
You're under arrest.
Yeah.
So a bunch of kids go, and we stayed. And after about 5 minutes, they didn't come back. So we're like, oh, maybe this is for real. So we go around, get in line, and sure enough, they let us into the dressing room. We got to meet them, talk to them, each of them for about 2 or 3 minutes apiece. Got everything re-signed. I still have my Jam gift T-shirt with all their autographs on it.
Fantastic. Oh, wow. That's a great story.
And and about a year ago, I just came across something on social media. It was a guy writing a book called The Jam, The Day I Was There. And he was looking for people that had seen the Jam to tell interesting stories. And I just quickly sent him a note and said, I've got what I think is a pretty good story. And he immediately said, yeah, if you write it up and send in, I'll include it. And sure enough, it's in the book. And he even included a picture of our mod band from the...
That's cool. That's fantastic.
I thought he might have said... I thought he might have said, oh, yeah, and I've got your pound note.
And by the way,
well done.
Yeah, very good. At the time you named yourself,
bringing it right back full circle. I love that.
And if you named yourself the Mods, you were one of about 17 bands that named yourself the Mods at the time. So don't feel badly about that.
You know what? I don't. I take all that stuff with really good humor. Which one more quick story that reminds me of this is the first time that Star Collector toured in England. We were playing in Liverpool, and we decided to do the Beatle walk thing. So we were near Penny Lane. We decided to walk up and see Strawberry Fields and see the house that John Lennon grew up in. And as we're walking down the street, a bunch of kids that were all of about 10 years old start leaning over the fence and yelling at us like, "Oh, you bunch of posers. Oh, you think you're pretty cool, do you?" Oh, it was just hilarious. We're splitting the gut because, of course, like you said, how many millions of people do that little musical pilgrimage all the time? So, if you got to take yourself too seriously, then
you would never be alive if you did that in this game.
Exactly.
All right, let's play a couple songs from Game Day.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
We'll play Game Day first, then we're going to play Rip It Off. So tell us about each one or inspiration or any stories that you have that go with either song.
Sure. Well, okay, so now we'll get to the slightly more serious part of the show. The first part of the album was actually written as a song cycle about some pretty heavy stuff that I went through in my life over the past few years. And, sparing the specific details, it's really, both those songs are, from slightly different perspectives, but they're both kind of about, expectations and the difficulty of living up to them sometimes, and how you can go down some pretty dark paths when things go awry. So it's about the masks people wear, Rip It Off in particular. And Steve did a really great video for that one, which alludes to the lyrical themes without sort of beating you over the head with a club. So it's not, doesn't come off like a Tool video or something. It still keeps our power pop vibe going, but it also alludes to a lot of lyrical content in that one. And so that's Rip It Off. And then Game Day is a slightly different take on a similar theme as well. But like I said, the whole first 6 songs are kind of like the cycle, and then we tacked on, I guess, what you'd call standalone songs afterwards to complete the album. But we did feel that they all flowed together quite well. And so, I guess, like I said, it's, I kind of like to say it's not my story to tell, but I tell it sort of obliquely through the songs. So, I don't mean to be terrible.
No, they're emotional songs, no doubt. So let's get to Game Day first. We're with Vic from Star Collector. And this is their 5th album. And you go to Bandcamp and treat yourself to this. It's pretty wonderful. This is Game Day by Star Collector, right here with Neighborhood Weekly Radio.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. This is it. I can feel it.
Same way that I knew all along, I never knew me at all. It's game day and I've gotta be strong. Game day is played out on the lawn. It's May Day in the siren song. Now there ain't no losing at all. It's game day for the young and strong. Game day played out on the lawn. It's the same way that you knew all along. You never knew me at all. No, you never knew me at all. You never knew me at all. Now there ain't no losing at all. Smile brightly for all the world to see. You tread lightly, singing the real me. But we can't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes the one who ups and leaves is just the one who breaks and bleeds. The life of the party shouted out loud, dancing and laughing, tears of a clown. But we can't see the ocean for the waves. Sometimes the one who waits and craves shows you the mask and hides away. So rip it off when you think you can't stand it. Rip it off, ain't the way you planned it. Rip it off, the precious and the soft. You gotta rip it off. Tear down the wall, world, shut your mouth. And when the rats are racing, blow it out. But you can't see the sky for the blue. Sometimes the you thought you knew ain't the flash arrow straight and true. So rip it off when you think you can't stand it. Rip it off, ain't the way you planned it. Rip it off, the bandage and the buff.
by Star Collector. We are here with Vic Wayne, and very much enjoying this interview, Vic. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for asking.
Mitch wanted to talk to you a little bit about your guitars. I think that was awesome.
Well, that was we were just discussing. I always mention tech stuff, and I love Rickenbacker guitars. I never really had one, but when you were looking for a particular sound, was there like, oh, I'm going to get a Rickenbacker because that's what I like, or that's you picked it up and it's like, oh, I like that, and that's what I go. That's what I want to play, and that's the sound I'm going for.
Both.
Yeah,
it was, it's like been the prototypical combination of a Rickenbacker through a Vox with a bit of distortion.
Yep.
Right from when I was a kid with the Who and the Jam,
sure,
and right through to more modern bands that I admire, and I just love that combination of the sound. And I got to be honest though, like, all the cool guitar stuff that you hear in our songs, off air you were saying, oh, I just love the guitar part and rip it off. And I'm just sitting there smiling. It's all Steve.
Yeah.
It's all Steve.
I actually saw one of your tweets and you said you were, what was the word you used? I believe humble guitarist, something along those lines.
Yeah, on another interview recently, I hate using the same line twice, but it really does sum up exactly my guitar playing, which is that my guitar playing is like trying to carve a pineapple with a butter knife.
It's so juicy.
I love it. Yes, juicy guitar. Very juicy guitar.
Slippery, messy, and just doesn't get the job done. But,
so without
Steve is definitely Steve's a really, really great guitar player. And
so what's his gear? What's he playing?
He uses like an SG.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I think it's called an SG Junior or something. I don't know. It's
interesting.
It's if you look at the Rip It Off video, he's using it. It's nice and up close. And
nice.
It just kind of, we were saying off air, like asking about influences, and I think mine were pretty clear in the story about the British bands that I grew up with. But Steve, whose sound really influences the overall sound of Star Collector, he grew up kind of listening to a lot of AM radio, like Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and Van Halen and stuff, where and he didn't have access to the kind of alternative music scene because he grew up in a really small town. But he, spent the prerequisite hours of sitting in his room playing guitar, and it paid off.
So who's the Monkees fan that named the band?
That would be me.
All right.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, well, that was the first band I ever liked when I was a wee kid. The very first band I ever remember hearing was the Monkees, and then shortly after the Beatles, and then a bit of a side trip, which always surprises people, but I became a monstrous fan of Alice Cooper.
Yeah, I noticed that in one of your interviews, and interestingly enough, I was never an Alice Cooper fan all that much, but when I go back now, I appreciate it much more than I did at the time.
A lot,
really more melodic and. You just figured you see
just good rock and roll.
Yeah, really good rock and roll.
Is.
So
it's the early stuff really. The when he had the Alice Cooper group, the 5 of them that were Alice Cooper before he went solo.
Yep.
There was a real garagey Detroit kind of vibe thing that they had. It was. I just I don't know. When you're really young and obviously they were a very visual experience too, and they just kind of. The song No More Mr. Nice Guy was a real jumping off point for me. It kind of took me from the Beatles and the Monkees and the whole British thing that I liked and showed me another side of stuff where I was able to appreciate Led Zeppelin and that kind of stuff. And then, I mean, realistically, the stuff that I've always loved is more in that kind of mod.
So another influence that I really hear, and maybe it's conscious, maybe it isn't, MC5. I can hear that sort of grungier power pop sound. Have you become a fan of theirs after or before or ever?
I'm not really, but I know the vibe, and I know other, I do like the sound of garage. And I think, the third album we made called Flash Arrows and the Money Shot, we made it with Kevin Kane from the Grapes of Wrath. He worked on it with us. And that album has a real garage vibe to it, more so than any of our other stuff, I think. So it's kind of interesting. We were talking, you were mentioning our back catalog, and I sort of see how, our first album was almost like really prototypical mod rock, and then the second one was kind of like a pop album almost. then the third one had more garage, and the fourth one even had a bit more hard rock to it. And I think on this one, we've kind of melded all that stuff together in such a way that I think we can, you know, we can have a pop song like Cayenne and Caramel, which is like the song in the video that we're...
And guess what? That's coming up next. Very
well,
good.
There you go.
Wow,
you're very
good.
good.
That?
You know, who knew? You have a career as a DJ if this thing doesn't work.
Thank you.
All right, so this is tell us about Cayenne and Caramel.
Yeah, well, so this is one of the later ones. It's just really about first loves, first crushes, first lusts, and you know, the memories of them and how they're kind of bittersweet, you know, in a good way, but also in a wistful way. And you know, yeah, I mean, it wasn't written in any kind of heavy way. It was written quite quickly, in fact, and sometimes those are the best ones.
All right, let's hear it. This is Cayenne and Caramel. We're going to follow that with Funeral Party, and we'll talk about that one when we come back out. So this is Star Collector. We're here with Vic, with Mitch and Mark on Neighborhood Weekly Radio. All right.
It's my party, you can cry if you want to, but I would rather see you smile. What's the point in asking why? It's my party, I can die if I have to, but I would rather let it slide. I would rather see you
two tunes there, Cayenne and Caramel and Funeral Party, and those are both from the wonderful album Game Day, which you can find on Bandcamp. And we're here with Vic to kind of wrap it up, but Mitch, did you have a question?
Well, we were sort of talking off air about just, playing music and how royalties get distributed, but I heard there was a story, like Paul McCartney signed on to change the law for the streaming stuff so that the artists got paid what they were due. I'm not sure if it's going to go anywhere, but it was interesting to see that they're really trying to address it. There was a lot of high-level artists that were kind of signing on to that, to change that, but where it will go, who knows? I think it was there. For this, it was the UK, so not United States, but going to Boris Johnson's government. So,
oh boy,
yeah. So good luck.
Thoughts on that, Vic? It sucks, right? It sucks.
Ask me again after I get my first royalty check.
Okay.
Then I'll let you know.
So can bands still, pre-COVID, and obviously that's going to be over eventually, or at least change to the point where bands can get out again. Can you make some money on the road still?
Well, it is harder. Even pre-COVID, it was harder because there's just a lot of places that that don't have live music as much anymore.
Yes.
And the place I live is particularly dire for it. The DJ culture became really big here in Vancouver, and the ability for clubs to actually make a profit through live music was getting less and less, and less people were going to shows. So, we found that the last few years we'd have to travel down to Seattle or to Portland to do gigs for the most part. And it was better a while back, but and there are certain areas still, like Alberta, where I grew up in Edmonton, I think still has, or had before the pandemic,
right, had
places to gig and stuff. And I know certain pockets of the States and the UK in particular are still okay with it. But it's not a going concern, certainly as much. But we were also talking off the air about how amazing it is that you can get your music out to the world.
Yeah.
In the state of technology right now. So, social media and making videos and those kind of things can actually extend your reach in a way that we never could have done 15 years ago.
Right.
So there's pluses and minuses, and that includes the royalty question too, really.
I do wonder, though, with COVID and stuff, I almost feel like people are ready to really hear some live music again.
Oh, there's no question.
I know around here, and I talk to everyone, and it's, we don't want to go. We want to see a live band. We want to go somewhere, and it doesn't have to be a full band. To some acoustic guitars in here. How often do we hear there's a band playing? We don't even know who they are. Let's go there.
Absolutely.
Because we want to hear live music. I mean,
there will be live music here in Kennebunkport.
We're the exception.
Tomorrow there will be live music across the street from us. So we will be there watching
cafe.
it. I don't even care who they are.
Yeah.
So you're always welcome in New England. You're always welcome anywhere on the East Coast.
Well, that's awful kind of you. That'd be wicked. You know, it's funny that we're talking because while Funeral Party was playing, and we were talking off air, I got a little ding on my phone, and it was letting me know that the tickets that I bought to see Squeeze a year and a half ago have finally officially been canceled.
Mitch's too.
I
right?
was at Squeeze too in Portland, and I didn't get that. Maybe it did though, because my phone was connected to the phone or this call right now. So
I'm going to tell one quick story because you may have not. I've told this a million times, but you may not have heard it. About 2 years ago, I bought tickets to see the Hoodoo Gurus in Boston, and that show got canceled because I bought them about almost like 9 months ahead. It got canceled in COVID. It is now rescheduled for 2023, I think. So,
oh my God!
I pray that they're still alive when the time comes.
Well, you know, I follow them, and they're recording an album at the moment, and we actually don't do a lot of covers, but one of the ones we do and have done for a long time is the song "Bittersweet."
Oh yeah,
by the Hoodoo Gurus, which
love
is
that.
Top notch.
All right, we're gonna play that a little bit later.
Yeah, and you know, on Twitter or something, I think it was on Twitter. One day I mentioned that to their Twitter feed, which David Faulkner oversees, and he actually replied back and saying, "Oh, I'm honored that you play my song."
Wow, that had to feel pretty good.
Damn, yeah,
that's awesome.
Cool.
That
so
is
I guess
very
we're gonna
cool.
keep playing it.
All right, we'll keep playing it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll do this again sometime because you have a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
A lot of great music that we still need to dive into. So when we are more familiar with the back catalog, we'll ring you up again. And thanks for listening to the show.
Great.
And I was happy to enjoy that Caesar.
Awesome. I'm down to my olive now. So
all right, sounds great.
Nice.
So we're actually, interestingly enough, going to leave you with a cover. These are the Boo Radleys doing "There She Goes."
Do it.